You are now listening to the Strong Opinions Podcast.
All right, I'm with you today. Strong Opinion Podcast. I came out and visited my girl, Princella, new mother. I'm really proud of you. How you doing today?
Fantastic. And I couldn't be better right now.
We were just speaking off air, man, about just her growth and where she was then and where she is now, man. I can't be more proud, like a proud father.
It's always good to have people who really care about you and really support you and want to see you grow. You know, because it was one point in life that I didn't have that. You know, so it's good to have it now.
And be honest with how level-headed you are and intelligent. You know, to think that you came from a place where you didn't have that before is shocking to me, because you appear as a person that had consistent, solid ground, solid upbringing, well-rounded community. And then some of the things you tell is like, no, Los, it ain't always been like that.
Right. Yeah, you know, some people, you know, in life, you know, life ain't fair to, you know, it's just not fair. And some people get in situations like that and they don't know how to cope. And in life, you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know something, you know, how do you know you need to learn it if you don't know?
Right.
And so I was blessed with not only strong willpower, but I was blessed with the ability to analyze things and think about things. So with me, I had to be my own support system, but I had to find a way to use that as fuel to help shape who I am, you know. And so even though I didn't have a support system, everything that I went through helped build who I am, which is very great. Unfortunately, a lot of people are out there to figure it out on their own. And they won't figure it out because it's very difficult. I can't say that.
It's funny we talking about that because I had a discussion with a guy today, and it was kind of on that. He was talking about how life ain't fair, and I said, look, man, you 50 something, and you still talking about mistakes you made at 15.
Right.
You had 30 plus years
Right.
to build on that, get it right, change it up, cross the street.
Right.
You know, so, and I realized, like, you know, from an educational standpoint, when we graduate high school, there are some students that have the option to go to Georgetown, Princeton, Yale, Harvard, and there are some students that just, it's a celebration just because they graduated.
Right.
You know, and at the same time, there are some students that don't graduate.
Right.
But what you do in your adult life, you can't keep blaming your parents or you know, people that done you wrong in the 4th grade.
Right. A lot of people want to do that. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody about 3 nights ago, and I was telling them, I say, the problem with most people is they don't want to be responsible or accountable for anything. Because I was telling them about the relationship I had with my mother. And when you're on the outside looking in, when you're assessing a situation or a person's mentality, you're not excusing or making excuses for that person. You're coming to understand the mentality of that person. So I was telling him some of the things that I was going through, and he looked at me and he was like, but she at fault for doing you like that. You should, you know, she shouldn't have done. I said, this is the problem. People think that things should go the way they think they should go, the way they believe they should go, but that's not how life is.
Right.
It just is what it is. And I said, in order for me to move forward, I can't blame my mother for all of the stuff that happened 20 years ago, because where would I be now? I couldn't move forward. So I have to find a way to understand her mentality, because she was once a child before, and we don't all come in here knowing. We all come here and make mistakes. So I can't hold her mistakes against her and be bitter, because that's only going to hold me back. And I said, that's the problem with the majority of people. They want to find somebody to blame for their failures and their unsuccessfulness, you know, and I'm just not that person.
Right. I say it's easier, you know. It's easier for them to just say, well, man, I'm this way because of this, or because of that. And I say, look, bad things have happened to me. People have done that. I just don't wear it.
Right.
I don't talk about it. 'Cause for what? What am I? What's the point? And it's what you say. You gotta learn how to move forward.
Cause I tell them, I say it like this: expecting the people who broke you to fix you is just dumb.
Yeah,
it's dumb. Because if they could have fixed you, they would have did it a long time ago.
They would have done
probably
that.
never would have broke you in the first place.
Right.
If they could fix you, they would probably fix themselves.
Fix themselves.
So if you're dealing with somebody who still hasn't fixed themselves, why are you expecting them to repair you after 30, 40 years?
How can they?
They can't.
No.
So it's up to you. You might not have broken you, but you're the only one that can fix you.
Right.
It's your responsibility. Nobody else is responsible for your life.
Yeah. See, y'all getting some strong opinions today. I knew Princella was gonna bring it.
Oh yeah. I went from, I lived on the streets twice. When I got here to Houston in 2012, I didn't have $1 to my name. I had to catch a ride with my friend's uncle who happened to come to Shreveport on a whim for a funeral, and I just hitched a ride back with him, and my friend gave me $20 so I could have something to eat. When I say I got down here with nothing, I got down here with nothing. And I had just got out of a serious situation where a guy pretty much broke me out of $40,000 and left me penniless. So I had to move. I couldn't find a job in Shreveport. I was in an abusive relationship. I got here and I ended up sleeping on the floor at my brother's apartment right in the corner. And within 2 weeks, I picked up a door-to-door sales job. My brother didn't want me to get a job right away, but I got here, found something, and I went in a big city that I didn't know anything about. And I went knocking on doors all the way in God knows where at the time. I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, walk a half a mile to the parking ride, catch 3 buses to get on the other side of town just to go knock on doors all the way up until 10 o'clock that night. And then I would have to catch the bus back home and do the same thing over and over again. I did that for 8 months after I got here. Then I got into a situation, ended up getting kicked out of my brother's house with nowhere to go, and that's how I ended up living on the streets in a big city like Houston. January, cold, nowhere to go. And I finally got a job. I got out of all of that. And in 2013, I went to Bamboo Poetry Spot. Saw Khalid there. I was like, man, I wanna get into the scene. And then that's when I went to the improv, and then I just made it my point to get in touch with you guys and be a part of that. But a lot of the things that I went through, had I blamed the guy who took 40 grand from me, had I blamed my mama, my family, and all of that stuff, I would probably still be struggling.
Yeah. And I've known you a while, and this is the first time I heard about the 40,000.
Oh yeah, no, I got hurt pretty bad in that. That put me in debt. That put me in a real bad place.
Wow.
But I bounced back. Psychologically, that person was abusive, and when I was here, I don't think you know about this, but I ended up getting kicked out of my brother's house or apartment because the neighbor, I put together a whole blues show for him. And I guess he had some psychological issues and some beef in Houston that I didn't know anything about. And so the blues show, he was actually wanting to put it together to be in competition with some other people that he used to deal with and fell out with.
And got you caught in the mix.
Got me caught in the mix, which I didn't know nothing about it, but a lot of people took a liking to me. So I was putting the whole thing together, and he felt like I was trying to take over because all of the people was communicating with me.
Right.
And he wanted to, it was another narcissist. He wanted to be the big man on scene. He wanted to be the one that looked big. Oh, Mario putting this together, this, that, and the other. But everybody was coming through me. So he really got offended And he basically, one day he put his hands on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he grabbed me by the throat and picked me up and slammed me on the floor. And I got away from that situation. And after the show was over, he stole my license plates on my car.
What?
Yeah, he stole my license plates on my car because when I bought that car off of door-to-door sales. And I bought it in cash with no money left over to buy insurance or anything else. And so I ended up, that when I bought that car, everything went from bad to worse. All of a sudden, cops just started stopping me as soon as I got that car. And I ended up with 8 warrants. And I couldn't pay them. And so he knew I had those warrants. So after that, his objective was to take the license plates to get me stopped by the cops again.
Wow.
So I got a rough hand dealt to me, but I was able to wade through all of that without coming up with excuses, without blaming other people, because I knew this too shall pass. I don't know when it's gonna pass.
Right.
But I'm doing everything in my power to get over these humps. And so to come from living on the streets twice, broken home, no support, and just struggling to get to where I am, to now having a husband and just having a new child and writing a book, I'm like, I would have never thought I would be here.
Man. Well, we're going to take a break on the Strong Opinion podcast, and we're going to come back and, because I want to talk to you about this book. I'm excited about it myself.
Yeah.
Your opinion matters to us at the Strong Opinions podcast. To join our email list, please visit carloswallace.com.
All right, we back on the Strong Opinion podcast with my girl Princella. So we left. You mentioned this book.
Yeah.
You called me. I think it's probably about a year ago, and you said, "Carlos, I'm really considering writing a book," and I said, "No, you need to do it." I said, "I don't know what you've been waiting on.
Yeah.
You have too much knowledge to die and take that with you. So you need to put that in a book so it'll be here forever."
Yes.
So let's touch on it a little bit. I can't wait to read it. I don't even know what it's gonna say.
Yeah.
But I know it's gonna be something I need.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? I think a lot of people need this. And I thought about, I could have wrote a book on anything. I could have wrote a book, an autobiography. But I have a concept about love that I really feel would be useful for everybody, because I think love is one of the most misused words in the universe. You know, people will meet somebody, say they love them, and next thing you know, they done broke up and they hate each other.
Right.
You know, and I started thinking, do people really know what love is?
Do they really know what it is?
You know, and people constantly say that love is the highest vibration in the universe and all of this, but how can that be the highest vibration if you don't know what it is, if you don't know what it's made up of? And so what I come to realize, because this journey has been a long journey for me to even figure this out, I said love is not one thing.
No.
Love is actually a pie. It's a fraction. It's made up of fractions.
A lot of stuff.
Yes. Yes. And there are specifically 4 main ingredients with a 5th one in there. So it's total of 5. And these things together these 5 things together make up the totality of love. And for the most part, you can go through each one of these 5 things, and if you don't get a yes for each one of them, chances are the person don't love you. They may care about you, they may strongly like you, but they haven't crossed the threshold of love.
Right.
And so I feel that if people really knew what love was, they could gauge their relationships or their interactions with people. And they can actually use that knowledge to heal from past trauma. Because in order to forgive somebody, you have to do it out of love.
Right.
If you don't know what love is, how could you forgive somebody?
How can you perform it?
People always say, well, forgive and forget. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you.
Yes.
So if that's true, why hasn't nobody has taught people how to forgive?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to forgive out of love, which means you have to do 5 things or come to 5 things in yourself to
check
even
these
get,
5 boxes.
Yeah, to even get yourself to a point of even being able to let go of something. Because like with my mother, me and my mom don't have a really good relationship at all. And it's not me, it's her, And I'm not mad at her, but she has things that has happened in her lifetime that she is not psychologically or emotionally equipped to deal with them. So the way her mind works, she carries things on for years and years and years. And as a result of her hurt and her self-hate, I was collateral damage in her,
right.
in her thing. Now, most people will grow up broken, damaged, and all of this, and blame the mother, carrying all of that hurt. But if you don't understand how to forgive, you'll say you forgive somebody and still be mad at them. Why am I not mad at my mother for all of the abuse? Because my mama really, I put it like this. My relationship with my mom is so bad, and like I say, it's not me. She just texted my brother to tell him that she ain't want nothing to do with me or my newborn.
Wow.
She wanted him to tell her that she hated me and my newborn. That's just how bad it is. Just want you to know.
Wow.
Okay? So how could I not even be hurt by that? Because my idea of love is understanding, compassion, sacrifice, to ensure the survival of and willingness to die for. For these 3 things, you have 3 things that you need to have to even be able to forgive anybody. Most people are mad at people because they take it personal. They think it's about them.
Yeah.
And so they can't get out of themselves.
We done talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Yeah, they can't get out of themselves. And you have to be able to get out, put your hurt aside for a second.
Yes.
Get out of your own way and step into the shoes of somebody else.
Right.
Because we all were children.
Yeah.
And everybody is made up of their experiences. And so people can only do what they know. And I tell people, I say, people don't do the best they can do. They do the best they know how to do.
They do the best they know how to. So with that said, like you and I have discussions about psychology all the time.
Right.
How important is that?
Oh, it's the most important thing ever. It's more important. Psychology is more important than making money.
But what our people say, you need to learn how to count your money.
No. You can't make no money without understanding psychology.
Correct.
Because all business is rooted in sales. You ain't got no business if you ain't selling nothing.
Correct.
And all sales is rooted in psychology.
Correct.
If you don't understand how the human mind works, you're not gonna make a sale.
How you gonna reach the other person?
Right. You're not. So you may send out a message, but how that person decodes that message, if you don't understand what you're doing, you may turn somebody away. So you have to be very cognizant of how you relay information, body language and
appearance,
everything.
Yeah.
So all of that plays into psychology. So psychology is the most important subject out of any other subject that you can learn, because you need psychology to raise your children. You need psychology to get along with people, to build relationships. You need psychology to do business. Psychology is needed in everything that you do in life. So why people don't take psychology serious is beyond me. And I tell people, I said, I feel sorry for a lot of people because, one, psychology, people look at that as a profession.
Right.
That's the first problem.
Yeah.
They look at it as a profession to go into to make money. And when you look at it that way and you start to see that psychologists ain't making that much money,
right,
people don't get involved in it. So now you have an industry that's declining in numbers, where you don't have a lot of professionals doing it. And then since we live in a capitalistic society, even if you had somebody, how you know they even about your welfare?
That's right.
Yeah.
I tell people this, I said, man, you know, I came from the railroad where we had platinum insurance.
Right.
Great insurance. So if we had an accident, like we hit a car and killed somebody, that's first they tell us to go to a therapist. And the first thing they check and see is how many visits does your insurance allow.
Right.
And if it allows 20, some kind of way you need 20.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, they'll do it, and that's the thing. Everything is a game. You know, when it comes to you know making money, and it's all about psychology. So you know, I feel bad for people because I was lucky enough to figure this out at an early age, and the rest of the people. Everybody needs a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are, a mentor needs a mentor.
Right, absolutely.
And there are not enough skilled people, not enough psychologists, not enough
Right.
life coaches for every single person to have. So that leaves people out in the wilderness to try to figure this out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And most people ain't never gonna figure it out. You know, and so I said, well, I know a lot of people don't read either. But for those who do read, who may want to get a heads up on how to help themselves, I figured that this book would be crucial and beneficial for some self-healing, because that's really what's holding a lot of people back.
Right.
You know.
Now, I like what you said about everybody needs a mentor. Like, I have a mentor, direct, that I talk to him every day. We meet 3 or 4 times a week, even if it's just lunch and just BSing. And then there's sometimes we meet where I have some real questions, you know.
Right.
And I mentor a lot of people.
Right.
Sometimes I don't even know. You know, I had a meeting earlier today, and a young lady said, "You a mentor to me," in my head. I said, "Oh no, I'm out." She said, "No, you just don't know how much you helped me before I ever met you."
Right.
And I can appreciate that. So for those of the people that says, you know, I don't have anybody I can go talk to. Sometimes there's people available, but you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you have to take advantage. You have, you know, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Correct.
If you don't ask, you won't receive. And you know, but that comes to, you know, a lot of upbringing, you know, where people are instilled with this unconscious fear of other people. You know, it used to be, you know, my mom was so harsh on, we couldn't talk to her. We couldn't ask her a question because she'll go off, and we were scared to ask questions. So I was scared to ask her questions because she did that. When I went to school, I was scared to ask questions at school. Yeah. You know, so I would always wait for somebody else to ask a question, hoping they would ask the question that I needed answered.
Similar to what you wanted to ask.
Yeah, and I wouldn't ask, you know, so that was damaging. But the thing that brought me out was doing door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
Door-to-door sales helped really bring me out of my shell. I didn't even realize I had a shell that deep until I started doing door-to-door sales.
And it broke you out.
It broke me completely out of it.
It's always a learning lesson in everything.
Yeah.
We're going to take another break on the Strong Opinion Podcast. Come back one last segment. I want to talk about the book, the baby, and what's next.
Yes.
6 speakers, one stage, one mission. Stories of inspiration, transformation, and liberation with one goal. Leading individuals forward every day. Match Theater, October the 6th, 7 p.m. Leading individuals forward every day.
You are now listening to the Strong Opinions Podcast.
All right, we're back with you on the Strong Opinion Podcast. So now let's get into this book, man. We touched on it just a little bit. We know it's going to be about love. I know it's been quite the process.
Yeah.
So I just want to, is this going to be the last book?
No, it's not going to be the last book. But what I did in this book is I kind of integrated. I didn't go through my whole life story, but I put a lot of it in this book just so people could understand where the information came from, how I got it. Because if I didn't do that, is, you know, what makes me quiet, because I don't have a degree in any of these things. I feel like I'm a very good psychologist, if I wanted to say, but I don't have a degree in it. But since we can use life coach, my life has given me all of the answers, so I need to let people know where the information came from. So since I put some of that into the book, I'm kind of torn if I'm gonna do an actual autobiography, but I have other concepts that I can make books on. So no, this is definitely not gonna be the last one.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I know when I get this one, it's gonna be a read in one day type thing.
Yes.
Because I've been dying to get it. Because I've been a fan since I met you. Just your intelligence, you know, and how you speak and where you come from and what you do. Even your rap album, I still listen to it. The 4 songs, it's probably just cycle it and cycle it, but I love them.
Yes.
The video that we came together, we made, I still watch that because that's the breath of fresh air that I needed as a 47-year-old and thinking about hip hop when it originated in the 80s, you know. So, because today, this stuff here, man.
It's trash. I hate to say it's trash, but you know, you got to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You know, and with me having a newborn baby girl, you know, social media is so depressing to me, and I have to be on social media, but it's so depressing, and it's even more depressing. It was depressing before I had a child, but now that I have a child, it's even more depressing because it's so much misogyny. There's so much hate and so much dysfunction in the world, and I'm like, I hate that my daughter's gonna have to go and walk through a path of all of this dysfunction, you know. And so I'm trying to put her on classical music. I want to, hopefully, that I can kind of manipulate her taste for music so she don't even have an interest to look at any, you know, that, you know. Hopefully she like orchestra music and symphony music, because that's what I'm gonna be putting her on, so she doesn't even get introduced to this craziness out there. But you know, I used to rap. I did that. You know, I was more on the positive intellectual tip, but I wouldn't let my daughter listen to any rap. I don't care what kind it is. I don't even want her to get. I feel like it's a gateway drug. You get in there and listen to one. Oh yeah, now you ventured off into 2000, 2010, and 20, and
now you're addicted.
Yeah, I don't want nothing. I don't want to listen to none of it.
Yeah, I hear him like openly rapping about Molly's and Percocet, and I mean, these are drugs that I have no clue what they are, never seen, but I hear it in the music, and I'm like, what the hell? When I was young, if we were doing wrong, we wasn't telling everybody. Like, we wasn't, you know, even in the business world, I knew there was times where I had lunch at gentleman clubs, you know, but we didn't go tell everybody, yeah, we at the gentleman club having lunch. Like, that was like a secret, you know. But
now it's not even just tell.
No, it's bragging. They bring your video in here, and I'm like, what's going on?
Oh my God, ain't no privacy. You know, I don't even like the fact that there's no privacy in the home. You know, people are showing what they're doing with their spouses, you know, romantically on social media. Like,
what's up with that?
Yeah,
there's no addicted to just getting attention. I think, you know, everybody want likes, and it's like, but you selling your soul, man. You know.
And the funny thing is that the people don't even see how, you know, how contradictory they are. Because they are talking so much trash about, you know, TV stars and musicians selling their soul for money.
But yeah, you doing the same thing.
For likes.
You doing it for likes.
They can spend the money.
Yeah.
You can't spend the likes.
Take that to Reliance.
Right.
Now, you sold cars. Can they bring you likes for a down payment?
No, that's good. I ain't know. Oh, you was social media. Well, it was nice to meet you. Can I get an autograph? Yeah, I sold this person a car, but you still gonna have to pay for it.
You still gotta pay. Them likes ain't gonna work.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, you know, I'm so disgusted with social media. So I try to get on social media and do something totally different. I amassed a following without having to do any of the things that people are doing.
Yeah, with intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's what is so attractive, you know, to me. That's what I like. Here I have a young lady with a massive following. She ain't on here naked. She ain't twerking. She ain't just doing none of this foolery, you know, things that just lower your dignity.
Right.
You do none of that.
Right.
But yet you have a bigger following as anybody I know. And I like that because I want other young ladies to see that and say,
Right.
you know what? I don't have to do all that
Right.
that devilish stuff to get people to like me.
Right, and we don't want them to have to do that. You
Right.
know? And I wanted to be a positive, you know, person to get out there, and so I pretty much opened up my life to people on social media because it was somebody needs to hear it.
Right.
And if somebody can hear it and see it, you know, and people like to see you grow too, you know. And so I've been on social media for 3 years, and people have watched my growth patterns, you know, and I've inspired a lot of people. I get on social media a lot of times with no makeup. Sometimes my hair be all over the place. You know, it's just, I'm just me. It's very hard to get something real and not packaged because people keep saying they want real, but everybody is demanding fake.
Right. Absolutely.
It's crazy. So, you know, that's how I was able to amass a following. So with this book, I have a lot of people waiting on this book. And
I'm buying the first copy.
oh, yes.
I want the first, and I want it signed and the whole nine. But I know you got to go. You got to go do your motherly stuff.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you again. And one confession before you go. I love when people challenge you on social media. I just hang around just to see you tear them up.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny because I back them into a corner a lot of times.
Every time I see it, I said, man, they just don't know.
Right.
They just don't know. But I've enjoyed talking to you today. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And y'all stay tuned. We'll see you next week on the Life is Not Complicated Strong Opinion Podcast.
Awesome.
Your opinion matters to us at the Strong Opinions Podcast. To join our email list, please visit carloswallace.com. Not long ago, the media and its purveyors, proponents, and even its detractors weighed in on the question, has society lost sight of civility? The fact we must even ask speaks volumes about the times that we live in. From the top of the political hierarchy to the untenable expanse of social media platforms to our neighborhood street corners and even within corporate America's crush of cubicles, courtesy is lost. We've been afforded one of the greatest privileges, freedom of speech, and we are stretching the boundaries of the entitlements to its limits. Racial slurs, sexual harassment, political potshots. It seems no one is safe from the gratuitous broadcast of hate-filled, provocative terms. And instead of taking the high road, too many opt to get down and dirty and sling slugs. The retaliatory tit-for-tat only fueling a never-ending cycle of incivility. Faith, values, and principles. You remember those? And biblical basics may have been blurred by pervasive blinding acrimony, but still apply. Love your neighbor as yourself. There's no commandment greater than these. Scripture teaches, so in everything do unto others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. The golden rule must no longer be tarnished by unpleasant, nasty rhetoric fired off just for the sake of hurting another person. To what avail? And just as discipline and kindness, politeness and caring, respect and civility begins at home with parents, the heads of households, as a nation, we should be able to look at the highest office in the free world and find an example of respectability, dignity, and civility. Let's be civil, everyone.